Email, phone call, angry parent. I need a pencil. My computer's dying. Behavior. Evacuate the classroom. And y'all wonder why we be so tired.
So it looks like teachers are still letting us know that there are a lot of struggles in the classroom. I'm sure that we've heard it quite a number of times before. I've put up a few videos based on this as well previously, but check out these new clips as well and let me know what you think in the comments.
Do I care if kids are in class? Yes. Do I put little check marks next to everybody's name who is in class? Yes. Am I gonna hunt down a kid who is not in class? No. In the 90s, when I was in high school, if I was somewhere I was not supposed to be, my mama would hunt me down like a dog. She would call every mom in the zip code and they would put together a hunting party. Not a search party, a hunting party. And they would pile into a car and they would visit every remote location, every lakefront, every rock quarry, every field until they found us. And then they would grab us by the ear and they'd jerk us out of there. We did many the walk of shame to our mama's car from a location we weren't supposed to be. So when I say I don't care about attendance, it's not because I don't care if a kid is in class. It's not because I don't care if they're learning. It's because it isn't my job.
Take your kids out of sports if they are failing. Take your kids out of sports if they cannot read. If your child cannot spell basketball, your child should not be playing basketball. If your child cannot spell football, your child should not be playing football. If your child don't know what syllables are, vowels are, compound words are, your child do not need to be in a sport. The problem is, y'all show up to all these extracurricular events. I bet you none of your kids know what extracurricular mean or they can't spell it. Anywho, I bet y'all show up to all these extracurricular events, but when it's time to show up to a parent-teacher conference, we don't even know what y'all look like. Y'all kids are not gonna make it in the real world if this is the structure that y'all have set up for them. Then when it's time to buy something for school, oh, y'all can't buy nothing. Y'all don't got no money, this, that, and the third. But your kids playing basketball. Your kids doing travel. AAU, baby, I did it. So I'm trying to figure out why you not paying for a tutor, but you can pay for your child to play basketball. You realize if your child don't got good grades and your child can't read, they not making it to nobody's team. Don't no coach want no child that ain't smart. I just want you to know, because if you dumb as hell in the classroom, you probably gonna be dumb as hell on the court.
We gotta talk about it. I need y'all to read the communication that your children's school sends to you. Do you hear what I'm saying? I need you to read the communication that the teachers send. If they send out something whole school, I need you to read it. Because here's what happens, is that they do send it. In whatever their method of communication is, they send it. Sometimes they send multiple things, like, and you ignore it. And then something comes up, like some event happens and you're like, I didn't even know about that. Or you don't know how the carpool line works because you never read the parent communication that came home from the school about how the carpool line is supposed to work. And now you're just messing everybody up. Or you're blaming a teacher or the school saying like, well, I didn't know that tonight was parent-teacher conference night. Or I didn't know it was literacy night. Why didn't y'all tell us? They did! Multiple times, in multiple ways. And I'm not saying I'm perfect as a parent. I have miscommunication before, and I have to take accountability for that as the parent. Okay? I can't say, well, they should have reminded me. They don't. What do you think they're doing? They're teaching your kids. They don't have time to message you 45 times a day to remind you about the events that are going on. Write it down. Write it down. We all have these little things, this little rectangle thing that's in front of me, a phone. Put it in your calendar, a virtual calendar, and tell it to remind you. I mean, you cannot keep blaming somebody else. Parents got to be parents.
Email, phone call, angry parent. I need a pencil. My computer's dying. Behavior. Evacuate the classroom. Observation. POC. Another POC. Miss So. Data. Teach. Small group. Rigor. Why does my child have a 52 in your class? Test, another test. Please cover your mouth. Walk through, another walk through. Please make sure that your standards are posted at the front of the classroom. And y'all wonder why we be so tired. That's why.
A lot of these kids that we are seeing that are being diagnosed with ADHD and ADD, they don't really have a disability. Their only problem is they're not being parented, and they've never been parented. And the signs and the symptoms of a lack of parenting resemble that of ADHD, ADD. So a lot of these children that are in our classrooms don't really have what they're being diagnosed with, because even children that have ADHD and ADD can be respectful. They can be taught manners. Your children are completely disrespectful. Your children are completely beside themselves and incredibly audacious. So we're not teaching children to say yes ma'am and no ma'am anymore, because they get to call grown-ups by their first name at home. We have parents that are arguing and fighting with teachers, and the teachers are absolutely right. We have parents trying to get us as adults to fill out paperwork so they can get their children diagnosed with whatever, and they get upset when the paperwork comes back and it doesn't say what they needed to say. Because I'm never going to agree with a parent that a child needs a diagnosis when there is obvious signs that there is no parenting at home. So be careful with all of these diagnoses. Sometimes we just have to deal with the fact that there is no parental guidance happening at home.
I want to talk about something that is adding to teacher burnout so much, and it's getting worse and worse every single year. I hear everyone talk about how behaviors are driving teachers out of the classroom, and of course I would agree, but it's not always those big behaviors, the table flipping and the classroom destroying, that is leaving us defeated at the end of the day. Something that I've personally noticed, and a lot of my teacher friends have also noticed, is that each year their independence is lacking more and more. We're talking very simple tasks, like we unpack our backpack the same way from the first day of school till the last day of school. Take out your folder, put it in the folder bucket, take out your snack, hang your backpack up, and get started on morning tub. But there are still kids 84 days into school that can't do that independently without being reminded of certain things every single day. Parents, think, oh, just remind them. They're little, just remind them. Parents, that is 30 seconds of our 8-hour day with them. Imagine if every 30 seconds we had to remind 22 kids every single step in a direction. Called routines for a reason. They're expected to know routines, and that's only going to set them up for success in older grade levels, because they're going to be expected to be more and more independent as they move on. So parents, please practice giving them 3 to 4 step instructions and ask them to do it independently. Don't replace things whenever they tear them up on purpose. Give them natural consequences. You break it, you don't get it anymore. That's just how it works. And
the 3rd grade teacher who came on here to say, oh, I wish children knew how to spell their first and last names and they knew their date of birth before going to 3rd grade, I genuinely thought that was satire, rage bait even, till I had dove deeper into her page and I saw that she was genuinely sharing her experiences as an educator. A lot of times when I give a parenting take, people will think that I'm being too harsh. So I was trying to be empathetic to the idea that there's probably so many parents who are struggling to survive, and then they come home from work and they have domestic work to do and it's difficult to balance. But then ultimately, I always remember that the child is not responsible for the circumstances they were born into. And if we have a plethora of 8 and 9-year-olds who don't even know their first and last name, I think it's safe to say that they're probably also not reading, spelling, and doing math, along with all their other subjects, proficiently. But to not know something so basic like the day that you were born, it's just going to show that there's a lack of genuine and consistent conversation and connection happening. I could be definitely understanding to a parent maybe having a child struggling in a certain subject and you not being able to even teach it to them because you don't know either, I get that. But them not knowing their own personal information, that's crazy.
I do really wonder what parents might be thinking about the teachers talking about all of these situations in the classroom. I know that a lot of parents as well think that a lot of this should be taken care of by the teacher themselves. So what do we do in these cases? Because if on one hand, the teachers feel like it's the parents that should be dealing with it, but on the other hand, the parents think that it's the teacher, well, I think we have a bit of an issue. So there must be a solution. Maybe there's a middle ground. Maybe there's not. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is it someone's fault? Is it no one's fault? Is it the system's fault? Curious on your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next video.